Studio One here in the Heineken Seaport District in New York.
Miss me.
I do. Paul Pierce.
The truth.
Jalen
Without
Rose.
doubt.
Chauncey Billups.
Big shot.
My name is Michelle Beadle. This is the last day of the regular season. We got a triple-double pursuit. 11 seedings still to be determined, and a winner-take-all matchup. Not much. Let's start with a look at the West first. 16 different scenarios based on tonight's games. How the final seeds will shake out. Portland and Utah play for third. Pelicans and Spurs play each other, thus promising mass changes. And the Thunder could finish anywhere from 4th to 8th. Now, the biggest matchup tonight is between the Nuggets and Timberwolves. Winner in the playoffs, loser is out. Minnesota needs a win to end a postseason drought that dates back to 2004. And Jimmy Butler is very aware of all that pressure.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. But everybody knows what's at stake. Everybody's talking about it. If you watch TV, if you read the internet, we know this is the winner go home game. So I think we're prepared for that, but we don't want to go home, I'll tell you that. I'm not scared of the moment. I'm not scared to take that shot. I'm not worried about anything. At the end of the day, I got to guard them like they got to guard me. And we'll see who the better team is at the end of the night.
Time to start guessing, Chauncey. Who's making it tonight, Nuggets or Timberwolves?
The Denver Nuggets.
I mean, I had to start with you.
The Denver Nuggets. Y'all want me to explain it to you? I'll explain it for you. I'll explain it for you. I'm from Park Hill.
Okay, got it.
Denver.
No doubt.
Hey, but anyway, here's what I think, right? The pressure's on the Timberwolves.
No doubt.
They're at home. And the pressure's awfully on that young man, Jimmy Butler, as well. Because he's the leader, he's freshly back to the team, and he's the one that they brought and said, take us over the top. He's probably going to feel a little bit of that pressure tonight, and those shots aren't going. There's no pressure on the Nuggets. They can just hoop. They can just play ball. I got the Nuggets tonight, B.
Nationally, there probably isn't somebody on the Nuggets bandwagon more so than me, because I got drafted by that team, but Gary Harris is on a minutes restriction.
Yes, he is.
They're playing on the road. Jimmy Butler returned for this reason. I got to go with Minnesota.
Guess what, Coach? Ain't no minute restriction tonight.
Can't be.
There can't be.
Either we're going home to practice tomorrow or we're going to Cancun. Ain't no minute restriction tonight.
All the pressure is on Minnesota. For one, when is the last time you had 2 All-Stars on a team that didn't make the playoffs? Like, if that was to happen for Minnesota, it'll be a very disappointing year. But I don't usually agree with Chauncey.
Hey, I tell you what,
I'm agreeing with him.
Things have changed in New York City, boy.
We've been
Hey,
on the
my
same
man
page.
here, boy. I tell you.
I gotta go with Denver.
Well, it doesn't matter what I'm just here to host.
It does matter.
No, I agree. Well, look, if you go 14 straight seasons missing the playoffs when you have a roster like Minnesota does, I do think that that's a much bigger slap in the face. That being said, I feel like the Denver Nuggets are as hot as can be in the perfect time.
Wow,
right?
I'm in the minority here. Y'all showing footage of the Joker. And for those that don't know, that's 18, 10, and 6. The last center to average 6 assists, Wilt Chamberlain.
Wow.
Really?
That guy's balling this year, but he's going against the big cat tonight.
Ooh, he got his hands full tonight.
Yep.
He got his hands full. But
got a lot of
both, the sad part about it is one of these teams is going to go home.
Right.
And they both have young cores that are teams that are very exciting to watch. I wish they both can get in, unfortunately, but
you can take somebody out. Who would you take out?
Is he going to keep putting
Are you
out?
No, he can put somebody.
If I was to take one team out, it would probably be Bede's team.
Or you take the Spurs out of there, huh?
I mean, I'm just saying because I like the new breed of young talent in Minnesota and Denver.
What's wrong with you?
Especially without Kawhi. They're just not
all the more
as
reason
fun
for
to
them
watch.
To be there to see what they can do without.
I mean,
Kawhi.
but hey, I just rather see Minnesota and Denver.
It's just got really awkward and really personal. We have a really long night ahead of us. You know what? I think we should.
You miss me,
Beans. No, let's leave New York for a second. Let's take a nice little trip because our friend Doris is going to be doing some work tonight. Oh, no, Doris, my bad. I'm lying to all of you guys. Well, we can talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Nuggets more. Do you see any scenario in which your Nuggets, and I think that's fair to say, cannot pull this off? What would have to happen for them to lose this game?
What would have to happen if Big Cat gets going, if Jimmy Butler gets going, and then that bench with Jamal Crawford, if Jamal Crawford can come off that bench, because the Nuggets have a pretty good bench. And they have an X factor that we always talk about. That's Will Barton. So
Will Barton, he's one of my favorite players.
As X factors can really get going, that could make it tough for the Nuggets. And there's just no experience outside of Paul Millsap, Devin Harris. The Nuggets don't have a lot of experience in the playoffs that could come in
But what about the Timberwolves?
Well, you got Jimmy Butler.
They got Jimmy Butler.
Is that enough?
Teague.
It could
they have a number of guys that's been there.
You know somebody
Walt
we
Crawford.
haven't mentioned that need to step up tonight that's getting paid more money than everybody? It's Andrew Wiggins. He got a big contract this offseason.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he has terrific talent. He's been a #1 overall pick. When you brought in Jimmy Butler and you feature Karl Anthony Towns, he didn't like being the third option. Like, these are the type of games that you help make a name for yourself and catapult your team to the playoffs.
You're just giving more and more reasons that if they somehow missed 14th straight year of the playoffs, as far as disappointing seasons go, where would you rank it?
Huge.
Okay.
Huge. Paul brought up a good point. Two All-Stars, right?
2 All-Stars.
In the West.
You got Portland that has one. That's in a 3 or 4 seed. You got Utah has none.
That's in
So for a team like this, who've been assembled this way with a very good coach in Thibodeau, that would be a huge disappointment to miss the playoffs.
And also,
it really would be.
Absolutely, Big Shot. And with that stat right there that is being shown, you have 2 All-Stars, you have Wiggins, you have the bench you described, and you have home court advantage. You got and Jimmy Butler just rushed back from his injury to be a part of this run.
Yeah, I know their excuse is going to be like, we haven't had Jimmy Butler for a good amount of time, but as we all look at this roster, they have enough talent. You got experience, you got youth, you got superstars. There's no reason they should be on the last day of the season fighting for a spot. Early in the year, people were talking about, hey, they can be a 4 seed. They can have home court advantage in the first round. For us to even be talking like this right now, it's already a disappointment in my eyes.
Now we get to leave New York and travel to Wells Fargo. It's the location of tonight's matchup between the Sixers and Bucks. With a win tonight in their home building, the Sixers would have the longest winning streak to end a season in NBA history, and that is where we find.
Hey,
there she is.
Our own Doris Burke.
She's glowing. She's glowing.
Doris, I got to ask you, who do you have making the playoffs? Denver or Minnesota?
I have Minnesota, and precisely for what Paul was just talking about. They've got multiple All-Stars. I just don't see Jimmy Butler conceding, and I just think he's going to play great. I think they're going to get a great effort from Karl Anthony Towns. Jimmy Butler has been here. He's done that, and this, to me, is the guy who I think will surprise us. I think Andrew Wiggins gets back to work and gets some things done tonight. I've got to believe with all the talent he has. Rick Brunson actually said Andrew Wiggins might be the single most talented guy he's ever been around. I just don't understand what's going on with Wiggins, but I think with those 3 guys, they win tonight.
All right, turning to this. Sixers